I'm Grove Rune. I'm a Staten Island singer-songwriter. I teach piano, I teach yoga, practice Reiki, and I'm a community organizer. Why do I do what I do? I almost feel I don't have a choice. I feel that I spent a lot of my early adulthood and my early 20s keeping to myself, so much to the point where now I have to explode and share it and give it out and connect with other people in some form or fashion. So it's very much about connection and creating community. I most identify, I guess, personally with my music. It's been there the longest. I think I probably came out of my mom singing, and I've been trying to create since I first conceived of the idea. Oh man, I was always singing. I was always writing. I think there's two. Getting my first keyboard. When I got a keyboard for the first time, that's a memory I won't forget. Walking into my bedroom and seeing it set up, because I'd been wanting to learn, and just screaming and running around and immediately tinkering with it. And I don't know, that was I felt a lot of gratitude to my parents, and I was very young, and I just remember being one of the first times I understood gratitude as a child, you know. And the second memory that was very influential on me was my first big solo at school. I was in the 3rd grade, and I was singing "Someday My Prince Will Come" from Snow White. And I had rehearsed, and I had practiced, and I had the high note down, and I was so excited. And then I got on stage, and I cracked on the high note and just fell apart on stage. And I kind of had that reaction from people like, "Oh, you did so well," but you could tell that they're just saying that, you know. And I developed stage fright until I was 22. Nobody knew I even was a musician for a long time, because I refused to play or sing in front of people, but I did. I still played and I still sang. But that greatly influenced who I am today, because it pulled me inward in a way where I do not express something now that is not true to myself and does not come from some place of humility. I grew up in Montgomery, Alabama, moved here at 21. I have a degree in music with a jazz emphasis from College of Staten Island. My yoga background, I've been practicing yoga and meditation for about 10 years. I was trained to teach a couple years ago. I was trained in Reiki about 7 years ago. And those two things are very intertwined, and they're starting to become intertwined with my music as well. And that's a pretty big passion of mine. It's something I take very, very seriously. It's pretty much my whole outlook, and the way I live is yoga. Well, I run a studio called Hanaman Lounge, just down the street on Bay Street. And we are a community center, a donation-based community center. And really just a space that we have that we're using to do open mics and board game nights and acoustic shows. And we have some classes and meditation classes as well. And just it was sort of something that I became passionate about when my partner Mike asked me to come on, because I wanted to do something to bring all the things that I was passionate about into one space and to create community. I wanted to really connect myself with other people, as well as to bring people together. Okay, so I know the answer to this question. There's a Disney movie, I think it was Disney, called Clock Stoppers that I saw when I was a kid. And basically it was just this watch that could stop time. And it's a very important part of who I am as a person, that I wish that I could stop time. Because I've always been one to take on a lot of projects and take on a lot of things that I want to be doing, and I never feel like I have enough time, and I always feel behind. So if I could stop time and just get stuff done. It sounds really nerdy, but that's really what it is. Yeah. I never go into writing music with an idea of what I want to write about. I feel that when I have something that I want to create, like an idea I want to create, and then I set out to create it, I always end up hating what I create. Usually the music comes first and the lyrics come later. So I guess what I do say that is there and present in all of my music is I like to do what's unexpected. I like to work with how the audience is breathing in my music. So where do I give pause for breath? Where do I give space for gasping? Like, oh, I wasn't expecting that sound. So it's really more in the sounds and really more in the feeling and the emotion that the music is creating. And then the lyrics come after that. And the lyrics usually sort of blossom out of whatever I'm going through at the time that I need to sort of work through. So there's a song I wrote called Wesley that is on an EP that I'll be putting out hopefully in the next few days. And Wesley was inspired by a kid that grew up on the same block as me, who I just found so annoying. Very, very annoying kid, but I hung out with him every day because he was on my block. And I look back at that, and I look back at just being annoyed by this kid, but also realizing how annoying I was as a child, you know, because I look back at certain like videos and just memories and knowing I was an annoying kid myself. And I wonder if he's, you know, got memories of me along the same lines. So Wesley is very much sort of an exploration of looking back at my childhood and what qualities are still there, what qualities have I grown out of, what things are part of who I am intrinsically, and sort of getting out of this ego space of that person's annoying, but actually turning it around and saying, well, how am I annoying? And I try to apply that. My yoga practice has influenced a lot of that as well, to sort of see when something is bothering me, that honestly probably says a lot more about me than about that something or that person. Should art be funded? Oh man, if we don't have art, then what are we? Well, I mean, like, what are we living for? That's part of what makes us human. From the beginning of humanity, we've been creating. We've been trying to manifest our experience into a concretized form of some sort, whether it's paint on a cave wall or something. You know what I mean? And if we don't have art, if that's not accessible, then we're just surviving for no purpose. You know, like, and what is that even survival? Like, what are we can't even be healthy if we're only surviving. You know, if we're only meeting our basic needs, then we're not going to be happy, and there's no real reason to being around. So yeah, art should be funded. My dream project is to have an album that I would like to have an orchestra perform with me, and to work with writing all the parts, and to have dancers and act and dance out my music. That would make me really happy to see my music transformed into dance. Fast paced, you know, when I was growing up and my mom was bringing us to school, because I grew up in Alabama, and she would drive us to school in the morning. She would always lecture us on something on the way to school, and my brother and I would just be in the back, you know, listening, and she'd say, okay, lecture number 747, you know, and she'd joke about that, and I don't remember anything except one thing. I remember one thing that she said that has stuck with me and has become more and more true as I've gotten older. She said, if you can't do anything about it, then stop worrying about it. And that has become a motto that I live by, because I do have a lot of things that I've taken on responsibility for, and I do have a lot of interpersonal interactions with other people, and I deal with a lot of people, and even just in anyone's personal life, you have people that you have conflicts with, and you know, and it's just sort of if I can do something, do it. If I can't, then let it go. And that has done wonders for my health. I like to read. I like I kind of like to school myself, I guess. I like to read and study a variety of topics. And I like to go bowling. And to hike. And to climb trees. Clockstoppers is actually a Nickelodeon movie I've just found out. Thank you, Will.